And we are live. What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning live Counterpunch Boxing. Thank you guys for coming onto the chat. As you come in, hit the like button for me. That notifies other people that this live chat is active and hot. Tell me where you guys are today in this crazy world. It is a crazy one, and it gets crazier, it feels like, every day. But let's talk about some boxing, man. We have Dillian Whyte calling out once again Tyson Fury. Yuri Dumbo, counterpunch to you. We have, of course, the appreciation to George Floyd. Ashley Horn, counterpunch back, man. Welcome to the show. We have people in exile, people in waiting. People are just trying to fight. We have Dillian Whyte trying to fight Francis Ngannou. John Jones turning down to fight Francis Ngannou. Henry Osit, shout out from Dubai. Counterpunch to you, brother. Hope the weather's fine. Hope it's cool over there. What else do we have? Dillian Whyte, he's mentioning or open to the idea of fighting in the cage. He says it's like riding a bicycle. I'm not really sure. But then he did say it is hard to acclimate back, right? So I'm not really sure if he's really up for it like he claims. What's up with you guys? We got Forza Rider from New York, or from York in the UK. Counterpunch to you. D-Flow, do you think Whyte deserves the belt? Well, D-Flow, he has a belt. He does have a belt, but the thing is, it's the interim belt. And to be fair, it's like it looks no different from the belt that Deontay Wilder, which Tyson Fury owns, Deontay Wilder had, right? But he just can't get that fight to fight the top guys. I know he deserves to fight for one, D-Flow. I'll say that, but who knows? Whyte wants smoke. Yeah, I think Whyte does want that smoke, man. The Hove, big up to Counterpunch Boxing. You're the real educator. Bless me up, brother. The Hove, thank you, brother. Shout out to the Hove. Thank you for the compliment. Khan, hi. All right. Sai Khan, hello to yourself. Counterpunch to you. Any news on when fight gonna start up again? I think it's slowly coming. I think it's going to be in between phase 2, because phase 2 starts tomorrow here. Okay. So we have different phases. Phase 1 was, they gradually let a certain amount of people out, to non-essential places like restaurants, barbershops, nail places, what have you. Phase 2, they're going to be, they're going to add more people and see how it goes. So it's all kind of touch and go. But I want to remind people that just because they're having phases and they're, I think they should really take time in between phases. I think phase 1 should last for about a month. Then phase 2 to last for a month to do a better observation of what's going on. That's my opinion, my counterpunch on that. But, it is what it is. Any news? Okay, let's see. Shout out from London, Samuel Ayayinka. Ayodehi Ayayinka. Shout out from London. Counterpunch to you. Ashley Horn. I don't want Whyte to fight in the cage. I just don't like MMA. He's a boxer, so he should stay boxing. Don't like crossovers. Well, what people don't understand about crossovers, man, they're dangerous. I mean, UFC, a lot could happen to you in UFC. A lot more than boxing, normally does. You could have hip injuries, leg injuries. Not saying that doesn't happen in boxing, but it's prone to happen more in UFC. You know, you can break your toe, your ankle, you know, your leg, you know, it's all types of things, your arm, and then not the type of way that you think, you know. You could get an elbow to the eye, you could get your eye put out. It's crazy, you know. C. Gomez, Carlos from Barnsley, England. Counterpunch to you, brother. South Wales, South Wales Matt. Counterpunch to you. Kenny Oyinloli, or Oyinloye. Great job you're doing. Thank you, brother. Keep it 100. It's good. I hope you're blessed. Keep it 100. I am, man. I am very blessed. I'm just taking it easy today. I'm going to go to the gym later, you know, try to get it in, core, chest, cardio, you know, then eat right, eat something good, not some BS. Do you have an Instagram handle? You're counterpunching only found your personal account. Well, I have a boxing channel, Counterpunch. Well, Facebook, it's Counterpunch Boxing News, and you can inbox on there. And then, you know, I try to throw some content on there when I have the time. So I'm gonna really do more with it. I'm gonna try to, you know, because I used to put a lot of things on there, like video clips and things like that, and classic knockouts. And that's what the channel was for, to stop the copyright garbage, you know, because I don't really like, you know, how a lot of people, you can get flagged on a YouTube channel using someone else's stuff. That's why I rarely use videos, because I have an editor. You know, I don't do it myself as far as those clips, but you know, they can flag you for any type of reason, for any old thing. You know, oh, that's mine, flag it. And YouTube will do it. You know, the algorithms will automatically do it. I don't have time for that. So then you have to set up a review. It's a lot of tedious garbage, you know. Shout out from Dublin. Big ups for the great content, Kurt. Ayinbuchi Ize. Thank you, brother. Stephen Bourne. Sorry, spell correct, Tyson. Lot of talk about older generation comeback, possible a new diversion. Is this true? Tyson, you know, he's been talking about, you know, coming back to the sport. You know, he's been talking about coming back to the sport. And he's, you know, I think what Tyson's doing, Tyson's loving just getting in shape right now. You know, he's feeling great. He's looking great. And I think besides smoking weed, I think exercise is more, or as another natural thing, I think it's honestly better, you know, regardless of what else he's taking, because Mike Tyson may be on some testosterone replacement. And a lot of people don't understand, when you get in your 50s, you can get tax exempt and you can take those. You know, you can take that replacement because your testosterone is low and you need testosterone, you know, especially if you feel sluggish or you feel tired, you know, and then even if you wake up, you can't do much without feeling, you know, sluggish or lethargic. So that testosterone replacement, how you feeling 10, 15 years younger. So you can pull it off, you know what I mean? Depends on, you know, how good you are, or pretty much how good you were. And Mike Tyson was pretty damn good. So all he might need is some testosterone replacement, or thyroid, and all types of other stuff that he could use from the urologist and stuff like that, on top of the stem cell research that he's been involved in. So that's another experimental new thing, you know, that a lot of people should be open to, because Mel Gibson, his father was 92. If you haven't seen it, it's a great podcast. Mel Gibson was on Joe Rogan. He was explaining to Joe Rogan that the stem cell research is very good, you know, because his dad was 92 years old, had all type of problems. Come on, at age 92, you're 4 and what, 12? So it's like he had multiple problems. They went on down to Central America, took the stem cell research, and now not only is he alive, but he's in better shape than he was when he was 92, and he's almost 100. This is Mel Gibson's father. So imagine if Mel Gibson's seeing that his father can do this, and Mel Gibson's what, 50, 52, 53, maybe, right? I don't know how old Mel Gibson is, 55? He has to be at least 55, between 55 and 60. So he's going to start taking it. So Mike's been a part of that. And I think a combination of all that, I think, is what is getting Mike or having Mike feeling good. That's why he's all ripped and stuff like that. You imagine at 53, if you were all broke down, could you go to the gym? Would your body let you go to the gym to bulk up like that? You'll be broken down. You'll be sore half the time. Now, he did say his body felt like crap. He said it felt like garbage, people. That's French. But he did say that definitely he was feeling the residual effects of working out. But I think he's past that, and again, it could be the aid of these supplements and this experimental research that he's been a part of. So, I don't know if he's coming back to the sport, but I think if he wanted to, he could. Mike might do some more movies. Mike might, you know what I mean? I mean, some physical movies like that Sylvester Stallone shit. You know what I mean? Be in a couple Van Damme movies. You know what I mean? But I think Van Damme, he did make a comeback rather. So yeah, one of those would suffice, like an Expendables or something like that, Billy Badass or something, and but yeah, I think he wants to be in shape, Let's see. Ibrahim Hamza, counterpunch to you, brother. D-Flow, do you think Mayweather will ever come back to fight? If so, who you think he will fight? D-Flow, if Floyd Mayweather comes back, it won't be anybody dangerous. Floyd has already made it clear that he won't take on these guys. And I think, and I hope, and I pray that Floyd stops thinking about himself and Floyd starts, in essence, like putting and pouring all this knowledge like a good senpai would do into people like Devin Haney, others as well. I think he would be better at that. I think that is selfless. I think he's done what he needs to do. I do think he misses the spotlight, but you can't blast Floyd too much for missing the spotlight, honestly, because, I mean, look at Mike Tyson. Look at a lot of fighters that talk about coming back. Even Oscar De La Hoya said, "Oh, I would beat the shit out of Conor McGregor if I had training." A lot of these guys, Andre Waters mentioned coming back. So I don't think it's just Floyd per se is the only one saying that. I think that limelight, the fame, the attention, the adrenaline you get for going in the ring with the lights and everything like that. Not on top of that, you're in between rounds and you're looking up and you're seeing the big monitors, right? The pyramid monitors that's showing all around and the highlights of what you did the round before. It's so many different things that excites you as a fighter. You know what I mean? It's just like any sport that if you're in front of people, you're going to see that. You're going to feel that. It's an energy you're going to feel. So you can't knock Floyd for wanting to do that because he might just miss it. He's sitting around with millions and millions of dollars. And honestly, how many chicks can you really slam? You know what I mean? And it's like, that'll get old eventually. And Floyd's in good shape. That's why he stays at the gym, which is good. I'm glad he's taking the Vladimir method. And I don't even know if he's taking the Vladimir method simply because the only reason I said that because Vlad retired before Floyd. But no, he didn't. Floyd retired before Vlad, right? Vladimir Klitschko, he retired in 17. Floyd officially retired in 15, but Floyd did fight Conor McGregor in 17, to be fair. You know what I mean? But I feel that he should really focus on the fighters that are present right now, not getting back into the ring. But he may, and if he does, it won't be anybody worth, dangerous. Okay, so that I will say. Let's see. EFOPH. EFOF. White is hilarious. He's the most down to earth too. You know, White. I think White gets bigger in between uh, camps. That's why he's on the redemption list because I feel the level he's at, he shouldn't have time to sit around and eat and get fat. Now, I don't want to take it away from White because I think White, he does the same shit I do. Go to the gym, maybe, eat some shit, go play some video games, talk shit about chicks, you know what I mean? Make chick jokes. He looks like a down to earth guy. You're absolutely right. Efuff, right? He does look like he's down to earth, and he probably would be one of the ideal dudes you would want to hang out with being a boxer. You know what I mean? That you can relate to more so. So D115X, keep the videos coming. Great content during lockdown. Absolutely. I was thinking this morning because I woke up and I had heartburn, and I went to the 7-Eleven and I got me some Rolaids, and I was like, okay, now I'm wide awake. So I got some of this Accolade water, right? And I got a bunch of other bullshit like Reese's, but then I didn't want to take it because I had heartburn. So I decided, to wash my car. And like so many different thoughts start coming about, fighters and things like that. And one thing that popped in my mind, if, everything was going on in this time that, America's in crisis over injustice, due to police brutality, excessive force, and what have you. And, and I'm listening to Tyson Fury, which I still got to do a video on. I've actually done one. I'll publish it later. Anthony Joshua, Canelo Alvarez, Floyd Mayweather, he's paying for the funeral. And, you're looking at all these people that's helping out. And that's, and a lot of some of these people are not even from here. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I'm appreciative, but then I'm like, what's missing? What the hell is missing from America? Our former American champ, Wilder. That's why I had to make a video about him this morning. So I just did it after I washed my car, and it was just crazy because he never seems to be around when we need him. Like when even it's not we per se, but it's like if he expects to be an example, someone that you look up to, someone with a following, because that to this day supposed to have been because of injustice, because of how his people struggle, not just for him to make shirts to make money. And it bothered me because I'm like, well, you got all these other people, giving their thoughts, saying how they feel, putting in support, putting in work. But then you have Wilder. Shit, where he at? So, if you guys ever check that out after the live stream. But it was a good good video or whatnot, and that's kind of stuff just bothers me though. It bothers me because it's like, don't use something that's real as financial gain. Don't be like a preacher. You know what I mean? Don't, let me use it when it's convenient for me to use it. And then when it ain't, and then people need you, they're looking, okay, well, what does Wilder say? Because Wilder started a fucking movement. What does he say? Well, obviously, as of now, he ain't said jack shit. So, that just makes you think. Even during the pandemic, same thing. Like, dude, where you been? Like, dude, it's people dying all over the place. Shit, America became the highest, past China. Now it's Brazil. Brazil is bad. Brazil is very bad right now, for the pandemic. So it's like, it's a world thing, and if you want to be a world champ, or that's what you're supposed to have been, it just goes to show you that some people are cut out for it. And by people's actions, you see who's for it and who's not for it. You know what I mean? If you notice, they asked Tyson Fury, but then, okay, all right. Okay, for example, they asked Obama. He's a former president. Okay, he gave his insight on what's going on, as well as what the current president's doing. I feel in boxing, if you're an ambassador of the sport, you have an obligation, especially if you created a movement, to speak to the people, and people look up to you, and you have a following, you have fans. So people look up to you, and they hear what you say, they hear how you dress, they hear the things that come out of your mouth, your ideas, they share those ideas. So where are your ideas when all this is going on? You have none. That's the problem. So I feel that Wilder should come forth and be more of an example for our people, his fans, and the people that look up to him. Because it sticks out like a sore thumb, because it's like an elephant in the room. Like, damn, where's Wilder through all this? He ain't been around. And you see him on motorbikes and shit. And then it's like, okay, well, I guess he's doing him, but in regards of if it's about me, it is what it is. But anyway, enough about Wilder as of right now. All right, Kurt, counterpunch to you. Mark Pringlesleaf, counterpunch, brother. Forza Ryder, if White were to beat Fury, will AJ still beat Eddie's cash cow? Thoughts? Ooh, Forza Ryder, that's a very good question. Very good question. See, if White beats Tyson Fury, Eddie Hearn would probably come in his pants. oh. And I'm going to tell you why, because then he would know he has pretty much, there's no one else to fight. And then this is what Eddie more than likely will do. Eddie will more than likely, he will try to stage a fight between, he'll do two things. He could keep it in-house and have Joshua fight White, because he has both fighters, right? And then it will be a probably 50-50 split after that. But don't be surprised if they try to swindle him, because he has the WBC. And Anthony Joshua has all the other belts, and they try to cut it like a 60-40 or a 30-70 in the favor of Joshua. You know what I mean? Or Wilder, they may do this because Dillian Whyte, and it depends on how Dillian Whyte feels when he does beat Fury. Because if he beats Fury and then he gets like on that high horse type of shit, he might not want to fight those guys like Andy Ruiz, Jarrell Miller, Deontay Wilder no more, because then Deontay Wilder will be just a voluntary, because he would have to get beat by Fury in order for Dillian Whyte to even have a chance to fighting Fury, right? So it's one of those things where Dillian Whyte could be a dick and say, you know what? Look how you did me. I'm going to treat you the same way. Go after the other belts. Oh, that's right. The other belts belong to Anthony Joshua. So you take what that motherfucker gives him, give him $12.5 million and let you fight him. Or you can, or because you're not going to fight me because you're not mandatory. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it could go a lot of ways, but then Eddie would be on top, especially with the heavyweight division. But yeah, he would definitely have a massive hard on to see that happen. But see, here's the thing that separates Dillian Whyte from Anthony Joshua. If Dillian Whyte beats Tyson Fury would have that first loss. His stock would skyrocket. However, I feel that he would still favor Joshua simply because Joshua has the endorsements. He has a crowd, not saying that Dillian Whyte doesn't. It's just Dillian Whyte will be praised. But what will be massive would be a fight between the two for undisputed. Imagine Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte, the reckoning. Now that Anthony Joshua has acquired his loss, but now he's a two-time unified heavyweight champion. They already sold out 0-2. This shit's going right to Wembley, right? It's going right to Wembley, and it will be a reckoning because, see, Dillian Whyte, that would probably be one of the fights of the year, because it would be Dillian Whyte knowing what he knows. He's learned more. Anthony Joshua's learned more. That fight will probably be more because, he can say stuff like, look at that lanky piece of shit over there. I'm talking about Joshua, that motherfucker. You know what I mean? And I think, honestly, this is honestly what I feel that night that Dillian Whyte knocked out Derek Chisora. I think that got under Anthony Joshua's skin. I think I've said that before. I'll say it again. I think that got under his skin. I think he was pissed off much. Anthony Joshua, he's good at hiding emotion. That's what most men do. They don't show people that you're pissed off. They play it cool. And he played it cool when he stepped to that corner ring. He stepped to that side post. He didn't get in the ring, but he was outside the ring and he was making an announcement, and he's asking the audience, who do you want me to fight? Do you want me to fight Dillian Whyte? And everybody, like, yeah. Can we get an applause for Eddie Hearn? Boo! Right? And then Joshua was still heated, though, because of what the crowd said, but it was really because of Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte called him a lanky piece of shit. And he was back there kind of letting off steam, but he was still on camera. He just wasn't in front of everybody. He wasn't in front of the crowd, but he was still on camera. And I think if he was pissed off like that, I feel that Dillian Whyte could really get under his skin. Kind of like how Derek Chisora got under Dillian Whyte's skin when they first fought the first fight, right? All that table throwing and shit like that, the water thrown in his face, that got under Dillian Whyte's skin. And I think Dillian Whyte doesn't fight good pissed off. Now, does Joshua fight good pissed off? We don't really know. We would have found out if he fought Jarrell Miller, because Jarrell Miller had him pretty PO'd, people. Okay. But, yeah, that's a very good question for as a writer. Hello from the UK. Keep the videos coming, Fabian. I will. Kurt D. Vil Angle. Okay. I like to merge you with all good people, bro. You're just another realist. Church Hill CJ. Appreciate you, man. Counterpunch to you. Lee Campbell. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Okay, let's see. Ashley Horn, unpopular opinion. Tyson Fury is not the best heavyweight in the world. I find that many boxing outlets and fans put him as the best in the world, but I just don't agree. Well, Ashley, this is what's going to have to happen. A lot of people are talking from emotion. A lot of people are talking from the last accomplishment. Okay. What happens in a fight? People have short memory spans when it comes to boxing. People just remember the last thing you've done. Tyson Fury has never lost. So a lot of people look at a record and they view that record on the legitimacy of the fighter. But you have to honestly compare how many times or how many fights did he legitimately beat. He beat Wilder, he beat Klitschko. Klitschko was by far the best. Wilder was just a surprise on the way he beat Wilder. So I think he got extra bonus points and extra stripes for stopping Wilder, for making Wilder's corner stop that fight. Okay, so it wasn't really what he did, it was how he did it. Now, does that make him the best? No, because to this day, he still hasn't defended his belt. Okay, so you can't give him too much credit, but you have to give him a little bit for the surprise, because then to top it all off, to put the cherry on top, right? He said he was going to do it. So that's self-promotion. Okay, it's self-promotion. It's Tyson Fury showing that, hey, not only did I do it, I said I was going to do it in a certain way, and I did it that way. Now, he didn't knock him out in the second round. He didn't do that, but he did stop him. So he gets full credit for stopping a person that's never been stopped, that had a reputation of being tough, which was Deontay Wilder. But anyway, everybody, that was questionable, just like Joshua's chin was questionable. So I think Tyson, he does need to prove himself, but most importantly, he needs to stay consistent, Ashley. That's my counterpunch on Tyson Fury. George Fortes, who do you got? Charles Martin versus Miller. That would be a very good fight. And I think both of those fighters, due to Jarrell Miller, even though he is undefeated, he cheated. Even though he's undefeated, he cheated. So that really, he might not have a loss on his record, people, but he took a lot of L's that day. He did. And with Charles Martin has been knocked out by Joshua in 2 rounds. He's been outworked by Adam Kalnaki, which fair play. If I'm Charles Martin, I would want that fight back. But then Adam Kalnaki got beat So does he really want that fight? You know what I mean? So he has 2 losses on this record, but he's being trained by Manny Robles. Manny Robles has another mission and another fighter that he can pour his knowledge and energy and strength into, right? His know-how into. So I feel that Charles Martin is on a high right now. So for him fighting Jarrell Miller, that's if Jarrell Miller even takes it. But if the fight happens, I would go for honestly, I would go for Charles Martin right now, because Charles Martin, at least we know he wasn't cheating. You know what I mean? We know he smokes weed. I smoke weed, bitch. I smoke weed, bitch. I walk this earth like a god. You know, but we know what he's capable of, and we've seen definite improvements when he took on Gerald Washington and stopped him. Okay, so I feel that he'll beat Jarrell Miller, but then Jarrell Miller has to prove to us that he just wasn't a big cheat the whole time. You know, but I think that Charles Martin will take it. Jorge St. Augustine. Mel G is 64. Let's see. Oh, Mel G is 64. Damn. So pretty soon he will be using that stem cell stuff like his father. You know. But Mel Gibson, he got a big white beard. He looks like Santa Claus now. You guys seen that shit? The dude looks like shit like Santa Claus in training. Chris Lynch, respect from the UK. Alexander Nisik. Shout outs from Germany. Mike is a legend. Fabian Cameron. To this day, we still talking about the baddest man on the planet. Deontay's legacy right now is the guy that the Gypsy King mauled after coming off his fat ass and beat him twice. Ooh, ouch. Wilder, I think Wilder shorted himself. I think he's been shorted his potential all his life. And I think that happened because of strategy. I think that his team put him in certain fights because they wanted to build him and make him look like the baddest man on the planet the easiest way possible. Okay. And I feel that they did that because they wanted, because they've seen time and time again how some fighters, especially with lack of ability like Wilder has, they did the best thing that they thought they should do for Wilder in his career, I think. And taking on Fury, coming off the couch, being the way he was, they thought that was a shoe-in, and it wasn't, And that's what makes Tyson Fury so mentally strong, because maybe he was tired, but I mean, he really didn't have to do much to Wilder, because Wilder is not a pressing fighter. Again, he's a very incomplete fighter. So he doesn't know how to cut off the ring and all that shit that he blasted Andy Ruiz for in the second fight with Anthony Joshua for not doing. I never seen him do the shit. I see he stands tall, and that's a good thing because he does use his height, but everything else, works off the jab. He doesn't do that. He just tries to set up thing. It's more simpler. He sets up the right hand, plain and simple. He'll set up the right hand, use the jab to set up the right hand. That's it, pretty much. I did see him go to the body to Luis Ortiz, which that didn't work at all. As a matter of fact, he got clipped in the second fight fighting Ortiz because Ortiz caught and shot. He did a catch and shoot. He caught that punch and he came back with 3 more. And I think that dazed Deontay for a while before Deontay landed the right hand and dropped Ortiz. And Ortiz didn't get up in time, of course. But I mean, he was up. I mean, he wasn't like he was out cold like Spilka. But I do feel that they tried to mold his career easier instead of giving him those fights he really did need. But yeah, he did get beat twice. So, I mean, it's almost with the draw, it makes it feel like a person that, you go to jail for one thing and then like you get a DWI and then you get another one. You know what I mean? And then they're like, okay, we're going to erase the other one. But then he fights again. Then all 3 of them will be relevant. Like, well, damn, dude, you really got beat the first time. because now people are going to remember when it happens again. The draw is kind of like, hey, we're going to sweep this under the rug. And he should have went and fought Joshua. That would have been a good fight for him. And who knows, he could have probably beat Joshua if you'd have caught him with that right hand, caught him right with the right punch, because that's all his faith is in anyway. Okay. His faith was in the right hand. That's it. That's the only thing that he's going to put his faith in. And that's all he needed for a lot of fights. And it was impressive, to say the least, about Deontay, because at least, regardless of the lack of skill that he had, he was able to do and get that one punch that he needed to land in there. So you got to give him some type of credit. But at this point, it just takes that one person to figure you out. And I think Ortiz learned enough, but he close, but no cigar, because he learned enough. He learned, hey, I can outbox this kid. I can outbox him, because he can't really box, but he's quicker than me a bit. And since Ortiz, I think he started slacking because he started not respecting the idea or the possibility of that punch landing, which ultimately landed and hurt him. Okay. And Ortiz is older. He got tired. So a lot of people do that with Wilder, and Wilder still has that speed because he's not going to press you. He's not going to throw a bunch of punches at you. How many punches you seen Wilder throw at him? And now he'll throw some wild bombs when he knows he's landed that right hand to get you out of there, to convince that referee, like, okay, stop, for you knock this dude's head off. You're hitting them all over the place, and you're not aiming your shots anymore. You're just throwing punches like a very emotional madman. And that's what Wilder used to do. So, Luis Ortiz, he started. That's why he wanted to fight him again. That's why I think Ortiz wasn't that mad when they shitted over the possibility of him fighting Joshua, because he knew, he was like, okay, I don't know if I can beat Joshua, but I know I can beat Deontay Wilder. You see what I mean? So I think he done that because of that reason. Or he wasn't that mad. I think he was frustrated or upset, like, dude, you pissed over this. But then, he still had that ace in the hole with Wilder in that second fight. And he was like, I know I got this motherfucker this time. He won't be able to do what he did, but he still did. So what do you do? Kurt, what do you think about Chisora or Whyte would bitch slap Wilder like Tyson did? I don't know. I really don't know. Because I know both of those guys will be good fights. It would be very interesting for both guys to fight Wilder, and I would love for Wilder to fight both guys. Because, see, at that point, if he fights Chisora, he fights Dillian Whyte, he's fought Tyson Fury twice, he's fought Ortiz. He's knocked out Dominic Brazil. Do you know what that means? That means that in 2 more fights, his resume would be complete and comparable with other fighters that have a good resume. Okay? Because if he fights Dillian Whyte and Chisora, who else is really left besides Joshua? Right? Joshua's fought Dillian Whyte, but he ain't fought Tyson Fury. But Wilder has. Even though he lost to Tyson Fury, it's not about all the times you win. It's about the people that you got your ass in the ring with. Counterpunch people. So if he did fight Derek Chisora, he did fight Dillian Whyte, that would be a good resume for him to have. Win, lose, or draw. It's not all about winning all the time. It's who you challenge yourself up against. Who's those dangerous guys? It just can't be, oh, let's fight Ortiz again. Damn, we're doing a redo. People talk about rematch room, but damn, what about re-PBC? Because that sounds like a repeat, and because it is a repeat. So I think if he mixed it up a bit and he did fight Chisora, Chisora's been knocked out, Dillian Whyte's been knocked out, and Deontay Wilder has been stopped. So you look at the capability of these guys; they're both big men. I see Dillian giving him more problems though than Chisora, unless Chisora can get him on the ropes. I think if Chisora can get in there, right, get under those punches and throw those bombs, he would hurt Wilder, and he probably would knock Wilder out more viciously than Whyte would, because Whyte would be more cautious of the right hand. I think Derek Chisora wouldn't give a shit. I think Derek Chisora would be in a situation like, dude, you're gonna knock me out. I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. And if I catch you with these punches, I know what's gonna happen. And if he catches catches Deontay Wilder with those punches, like the punches because he knocked out Spilka too. You know what I mean? But I think Spilka was just shot after Wilder got him. To be fair, but then, bro, look, Chisora can punch. And I think that Chisora could hurt Wilder, but I think Wilder could knock out Chisora. I think he could knock out Dillian Whyte, but I think all those guys have the capability of knocking themselves out. So we're looking at that, that would be a very good fight, so could they slap Deontay Wilder around the ring? Yes, they could. But could Deontay Wilder knock them out? Yes, he could. So that's my counterpunch on that. These are very interesting fights. I just want to see this shit happen. Fuck the politics. Let's make the fights. Anyway. Erweli. Okay. Ihadiamim Erweli. Okay. Hello, Mr. Counterpunch. Love your channel. Thank you, brother. Fiam UK. Sorry for butchering your name. I do apologize. Oh, it's short for okay, fuck Orf. Okay. Knockout White is in training camp in Portugal through the whole pandemic. Damn. Yeah, he is. He did go over there. He drove over there with like 4 dogs or some shit like that. Yeah, he made that, but he needed that. Dillian Whyte needed that training. He needed to get into shape because, like he said, he was 40 pounds overweight. Now, 40 pounds on top of what? What is he normally, 240? Shit. That he up there with Ruiz weight, right? I mean, December 8th, Ruiz weight. If he's extra 40 pounds, he did look like a black Michelin man. I know. Look, you seen rolls on Dillian Whyte. You didn't supposed to see rolls on Dillian Whyte. You know what I mean? He ain't just ripped up dude, but you could tell he did have definition. You didn't see none of that shit. He looked like a fat ass cake boy when he fought Darius Walk. And if Darius Walk had some punching power, he would have knocked White out, and White would have been looking stupid right now. Darius Walk would have been that mandatory dude, just chilling, But yeah, man, he was very out of shape, so he needed that. He needed to get in shape. He needed to be in shape. He needed to stay in shape. That's Dillian Whyte. He does need that. Thanks for keeping us entertained. Your Bob Arum impressions kill me. Yeah, Bob Arum's a shit. He's a G. He's a pot smoking G. He's a hemp head. D Hodges, you still think Tyson Fury cheated? Who the hell is D Hodges? Counterpunch to you. Okay, love from Lagos, Nigeria. Wol Oshu. Thank you. Counterpunch back to you. Do you think Wilder dropped his pride and let Mayweather train him? Do you think Wilder will drop? D-Flow, no. One thing Wilder, I think, will not drop will be his pride. So, no, I don't think so. And especially that he doesn't really care for Floyd Mayweather anyway. I don't think I think he'll stay with someone that he'll stay with JD's, and JD's knows dick about boxing. He doesn't. I hear him talk. This motherfucker don't know nothing about boxing. You know what I mean? What he learned is what he learned while training, or so-called training Deontay. He didn't know anything prior to that. He's more of a manager than anything else, because if he knew so much, he wouldn't need Mark Breland there, people. Counterpunch. He would not need Mark Breland there. Not at all. Mark Pringles Leaf. Wilder is only in it for Wilder. If it promotes him, he is there. Yeah, I think he's after that fame. I think he's after that attention. He's after that limelight. That's him. His passion is not boxing. His passion is acting. So, he likes to be in front of the camera, which I don't even understand though, honestly, because this is a perfect opportunity for him to be in front of the camera if it's something that he's supposed to be for. If something disgusts you, speak your mind, and I heard a protester say this: if you take things without saying nothing, they'll think they will how did it go? I forget how it went, but it sounded good. But anyway, Deontay needs PR. He does. Jorge Fortes, he does. He does need that. MCK, salute from Liverpool. Nice. Lizard King. Yeah. Wilder still can't come to terms with being beat. He'll obviously come out hiding with an excuse, as per. Well, I think the surgery, I think the surgery is already that one that all those cats that support him gonna be, and they're gonna want a fourth fight. Like, dude, you don't need a fourth fight with Fury. After Fury beats him for the third time, you don't need that. I mean, how many of those fights you got to make? I thought, well, it's funny though. I thought Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez, the fourth fight was ridiculous. But what happened? It was the best fight. It was the best fight that happened. He's not getting up, Jim. He's not getting up. He was over. Pacquiao was done. Juan Manuel Marquez, Marquez, he's like, hey, I got this motherfucker. I got him. St. Augustine, I hate to say this, but Wilder ain't articulate. Well, a little, he could take some speech therapy or something like that. I mean, that's if he cared, you know what I mean? There's people that will make fun of you. And it's funny how Tyson, though, Tyson actually has a good vocabulary. It's the way he pronounces it due to his teeth. You know what I mean? Those words come out that way because he has, I would have fixed that shit years ago, but, more vain than him, obviously, right? Without teeth, like if my teeth got knocked out, oh, fuck that. I would be until I get that shit fixed, no, I'm not one of them dudes. Be like, hey. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Wilder is a deadbeat for the LDBC. No, I think that's the other way around, Jorge. LDBC is a deadbeat for Wilder. I don't think it's the other way around. The LDBC, they pull the coattail of Wilder because that's who they have to look up to, because that's the pawn, that's the person that they use and they latch on to as an excuse to make their bullshit content. It ain't Wilder for them, it's them for Wilder. They ain't making millions of dollars, bro. Wilder is. So they're kissing Wilder's ass. And when Wilder gets knocked out, they're going to go to the next person. Everybody then they're going to start talking about Gervonta Tank Davis's, could knock out Lomachenko and all these other guys that they don't like because the promoters are white and all this shit. Right? So that's the cycle. Look, all those guys that were for Deontay Wilder now were for Floyd Mayweather then. That's it. That's exactly what it was. Sasha Salahi, Sasha Salahi. Evening from Eastbourne, big man. Kurt, appreciate you. Keep your counterpunching. Let's see. Chris Lynch, counterpunch to you, brother. Thank you for the super chat. Michael Buffer, counterpunch back to you, sir. Does more endorsements make you more of an A-side? Michael Buffer, I think it helps because you're more known, you're more seen. That means you have the possibility to sell more tickets, right? You have more exposure. It's just like this. It's like Felix Trinidad and Oscar De La Hoya. Now, these guys finally fought. It took 4 or 5 years now. It did. It took that long for a fight between Felix Trinidad and Oscar De La Hoya. Luckily, thankfully, both of those guys were still undefeated. Okay. Oscar De La Hoya, I think he had the WBC. I know for a fact that Trinidad had the IBF. Okay. And once that happened, I feel that Trinidad was the lesser known, but he was in the boxing circles, he was very popular. But for that guy that stretched through the mainstream was Oscar De La Hoya. You know, he had Puma, he had McDonald's. What else did he have? Being that gold Olympian too. I mean, he just came up with that pedigree, you know, even when he got into shit that people didn't even realize. Because see, back in the 90s, Oscar De La Hoya, he had a problem with, I don't know, he had a rape case against him, you know. But I feel that De La Hoya was by far the A side because he brought in the money, you know. But then Don King was a very powerful promoter back in those days. And Oscar De La Hoya was with Bob Arum. So that fight was made. I don't know the details about how much they got paid, but they flipped. This is what they did. It was De La Hoya Trinidad. And then what they did was they flipped a coin to see who would walk in last. And Trinidad won it. So De La Hoya was in the ring first, and then they flipped the coin, and Trinidad came afterwards. You know, he had him with the straw hat. You know what I mean? But that was one of the things, and I think what helped that was the fact that De La Hoya had the endorsements. De La Hoya was the gold Olympian. You know, things of that matter. But I hope that answered your question, Michael Buffer. Let's see here. Victor Ramirez. What will it take for Andy Ruiz to become relevant and a contender again? Well, Victor, he is a contender. I mean, he's a former unified heavyweight champ. So, I mean, he turned down fights with Andy Ruiz. With Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder. Okay. But I think what he did was, I think he's taken this time to work on his craft and to allow Eddie Reynoso to train him appropriately. So I think he's just taking a break to invest time into his career right now. Let's hope that's what he's doing. Because if he ain't, he pissed over 2 good fights that he should have been fighting. And it's bad, you know. So it is what it is with I think he can be, but it's all up to him, Victor. It's all up to Andy. If Andy pulls that same shit he did with Manny Robles, Freddie Roach, Abel Sanchez, he would just be another statistic, a guy that was a one-hitter quitter. He lost to Joseph Parker. He got lucky with Anthony Joshua because that's how people are going to look at it. And he got beat again by Anthony Joshua, and he ain't did shit since. We don't want that to be the narrative, but if he does, if he shows that he can't do or won't do what he should do, that's what people will look at him as. That'll be the narrative for Andy the Destroyer Ruiz. I want to see Andy Ruiz beat Wilder. I think that would be an amazing fight. Texan Man 41 Austin. You know, I think that would be a good fight too, honestly. You know, I think that'd be a very good fight. I think that Wilder and Andy Ruiz, I feel it could be a good build-up fight. I think it could make an easy fight. But see, here's the thing about Wilder. I think Wilder ain't what we thought he was. He was who he was until he got beat. He has to redeem himself. But I think at the end of the day, I think Wilder is a guy that I think he has to show me. He has to show me that he's not a quitter. You know, and it'll be ironic, just like Jarrell Miller blasted Anthony Joshua for being thinking he did steroids, but then he was the one with steroids. Well, Deontay Wilder did that to Anthony Joshua, said he quit. He didn't have a heart of a champion. Well, if he loses to Tyson Fury again and he quits, what are people going to say about him? You're a fucking quitter. You know, you didn't even try to redeem yourself. Okay, you got lost to Tyson. Okay, don't cry. This is heavyweight boxing. This is boxing. You're going to have a winner. You're going to have a loser. You won a lot of them. You lost 2 fights by the same guy. You know, let's see what else you can do. If he doesn't try that again, it just shows you was a hype job. You weren't really about what you said you were about. And you quit because you got beat convincingly, you know, this time worse than you did the second time. That would be the narrative. So, you know, let's hope that's not the case because I'm like, nah. You can't fucking quit now. You can't quit now. You know, Big Scope, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Sweet Pea versus Winky. Who wins and why? Ooh, Sweet Pea. It had to be Sweet Pea in his prime when he fought De La Hoya. That's the Sweet Pea I would bank for. Winky Wright is also a southpaw, and he's a tricky son of a bitch. Winky Wright, I think, has the height and reach, but Sweet Pea has the ability to slip those shots, and he's accustomed to fighting guys taller than him. So, Sweet Pea's more elusive because he's anticipating the fight, whereas Winky is more like Erislandy Lara. Erislandy Lara is more like Winky. They rely on blocking a lot as far as head instead of head movement. You know, they're good at doing so. I want to say Winky because Winky throws a lot of shots, but De La Hoya threw a lot of shots at Sweet Pea and didn't hit shit. You know what I mean? So, man, that would be Joshua. I think that would be a textbook like fight. I don't think it would really be exciting. You know what I mean? Because it would be too technical, just like Lotta Mayweather. You know, people would probably boo that if they don't respect boxing because those guys would have to set up. They're not going to fall for traps. 2 pure boxers. In this case, these guys are 2 southpaws. Now, Whitaker does like to get in there and throw punches, especially if you land a couple on Whitaker, he's going to go for what you know. Shane Kendrick, I'm out of here, Kurt. All right, man. Hey, see you on the next one, Shane. Let's see. Absolution. Kurt, should Dillian sue the WBC? I don't know. You know what? I'm like this. If he sued the WBC, he should have done that already. Because I think at this point, he's going to spend more time trying to sue them than anything else, you know? And then what do you think the WBC is going to do with him during that time? Nothing, because he's suing them. That's just like someone that you're waiting for them to pay and they keep saying, hey, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to pay you next month. Next month comes. Hey, I'm going to pay you next month. Next month, that time comes. Then they say, okay, well, you tell them like, dude, I'm going to sue you. Well, they're not going to pay you shit now. So I think that's what's going to happen with him if he does that, you know? Let's see. What do we got? Get the fuck out of here. I am on live chant. Kurt, put more bitches up before you say, what's up, fight fan? Actually, I'm working on some more intros. So, you know, stay tuned for that, Shane Kendrick, if you're still here. I know you said you had to shoot out. You said put some more bitches on there. Damn. White wouldn't make it past 6 rounds. Let's see here what we got. Let's see. George Foreman versus Riddick Bowe, prime for a prime fantasy matchup. Riddick Bowe. I don't know, man. I think George would get him for some reason. I think George could get him, but Riddick Bowe's a big dude too, so you can't just really just say, what he'll do and what he won't do. Yeah, you're still here, Shane. Cool. Cool. So I'm taking you. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Texan Man 41 Austin. I feel the US heavyweights are poor because they fail to work with each other. Spar, train, learn, etc. In the UK, all the major heavyweights are willing to do this and gain knowledge from each other. Well, let's look at them though. Michael Hunter, Andy Ruiz, Charles Martin, all those guys sparred together though. So I can't really say that. Texan Man. I think that those guys have unfortunately been beat. There's no unbeaten guys. There's no like these guys are all those guys are on their way back to something they already lost. Like all the guys, Andy Ruiz, Charles Martin, Michael Hunter, all those guys have sparred each other once upon a time. Gerald Washington, they've sparred each other. But it's just they are not on that level like those guys in the UK. The UK's they're running it right now. They're running it with the heavyweights. They're doing some Klitschko shit. It's just not two of them. It's a few. They're not two brothers that's just locking it up. I think people just got sick of looking at Klitschko. That last name. Oh, it's another fucking Klitschko fight. Victor Rodriguez, no more bitches because sometimes I'm watching your videos with my kids. Oh man, I'll try to tone them up or whatnot. That's kind of a cut and dry because not all of them are the same. Sometimes I don't even have that or at all. Have a go mate. Great live. Stay safe. Catch you soon. Ashley Horn. Hey man, peace out. Be safe. Ruben Guerrero. You reckon U.S. heavies need to spar outside U.S. more? I think so. Blue Blood or Kurt, who will win in a fight, you think? I don't know. I don't know much about Blue Blood Sports TV. I think I seen him live once at a live fight, but I didn't talk to him. So, I don't put anything past anybody else. I just know that we disagree on a lot of things. Some things we agree on, but at the end of the day, fighting is a totally different story because, I'm in pretty decent shape. I don't know about Blue Blood. So, but anyway, Jet Marshall. I don't know. I just thought I did. But anyway, Robert Navarro. Whatever happened to Wilder's claim of spike water, or they say he didn't say that. He never said spike water. Robert Navarro, he never said that. Somebody, one of the Wilder channels did, like the LDBC cats or whatever. They said they made that shit up. He didn't say that. Kurt, where do you think Riddick Bowe ranks in the heavyweight greats? He's definitely in the top 30. Does he make the top 20? I'm not sure at the top of my head, but I know he's in the top 30. Emmanuel Trivyar, love from Nigeria. Shout outs to you. Drill Scene Savior, Kurt, what is your top 10 pound for pound list of 2020? I don't know. It's hard to say. We haven't seen much. We haven't seen much of anything. So it's hard to put it's kind of ask me at the end of the year when boxing starts. Or when, you know what I mean? Ask me then I could give you a fair thing, but it's too short because we haven't seen much. This year is too incomplete with a lot of other crazy stuff. Would be your ideal fantasy fight between two boxers, past or present? D11-15. Ika Barabucci versus Mike Tyson. Ika Barabucci versus Lennox Lewis. Tyson versus Tua, both in their primes. Oscar De La Hoya versus Erislandy Lara. Fernando Vargas versus Jermall Charlo. Ike Corte versus Errol Spence. Gennady Golovkin versus Bernard Hopkins. Yeah. 6'2", 230. Jet Marshall. A prime Lennox Lewis versus a prime George. I don't know. That would be a good fight because Lennox could outbox him, but then George could hurt him. All it takes is one for George, and George will knock out Lennox Lewis because it happened. It happened twice in Lennox Lewis's career. That was the big stink in his career. Those were the two losses he only had. McCall and Rahman. So, who do you got in a street fight? Kimbo Slice or Ike Barabucci? I don't know because I don't know what Ike would do in a fight with Kimbo. Boxing, he would knock out Kimbo. Kimbo's a street guy. But in a street fight, I don't know. I would probably favor Kimbo, but Ike Barabucci is kind of crazy. People forget why he got locked up again. So, Kurt, why you never boxed, but you love to box so much? I was an amateur boxer, grew up watching boxing. Dad was a boxer, uncle was a boxer, grandfather was a boxer. So, it's a boxing thing. It's a love for the sport, sir. Shane Kendrick, do you think Michelle Joy Phelps is fit? I think she's hot. I can tell you that. She's an attractive lady. MCK White calling out Fury today on IFL TV. Yeah, I did I did a video about that. I'm gonna publish it later on because I don't just let out one back to back to back. I let them kind of marinate, let you guys check it out, look at it. Then I'll let the other one out. So. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's see. Knockout. I appreciate your channel, Kurt. You seem like a down-to-earth guy. How do you see Chisora versus Usyk? I think Chisora has a shot. Chisora does have a shot. Chisora has a puncher's chance on top of a hustler's chance. That means he has to fight. He has to fight Alexander. If he doesn't fight Alexander and he falls into that chasing him around shit without cutting off the ring, he's gonna lose. It ain't gonna be any hope for him. And the only thing he has at that point is a fighter. It is a puncher's chance. But if you can't punch a motherfucker, you can't even. There's no way you can even think about winning. You got to land the shot that counts. But if you can't land anything, what do you really have? Nothing. Wilkins Joseph. Ike Barabucci is from my country, but wouldn't have survived against Mike Tyson in his prime. I'm not sure though. I'm not really sure. I mean, are we talking about the Mike Tyson before he went to jail, or the Mike when he knocked out McNeely? Because the one that got out and fought McNeely was a bigger Mike. Mike had lost a little speed. So I do feel that Ike, was like one of those wild card fighters that a lot of people didn't want to fuck with. So we don't know, because if he can take Tua's punch, you think he could take Tyson's punch also? And see, Ike Barabucci is also a guy that fought like Evander. He was just bigger. He was bigger than Evander. He was taller, but I mean, he was a guy that he took the fight to you. If he could back up Mike, he probably would. You know, he look what he did with Tua. He went tit for tat for Tua. Every time Tua thought he landed something good, for every 2 punches Tua would land that were great shots to Ike Barabucci would land 5. So you're looking at it like, damn, you know, you put him in there, you put Mike in there, and Mike's coming forward, dipping, you know, and he's landing good shots. Best believe Ike Barabucci's going to come back with some shit too, you know. So it would be a very, very interesting fight, very interesting. Gentleman game, Kurt, the real deal counterpuncher. What's up, brother? Gentleman game in the house. David Cummings, salute counterpunch. Do you think Jamal Charlo is the new Billy Joe, America's Duck? You know, Jamel got upset by Tony Harrison. He's in another weight class, but Jamal himself, I think it's kind of weak. I think those guys need to come off of the ego shit and make those fights happen. I really do. I think they have to understand that they won't be shit, and people won't look at them. People probably won't even really remember them if they never fought anybody worth remembering. You know what I mean? You had all these other fighters. You had at least Golovkin. He fought Canelo. Jacobs fought Triple G. You know, Canelo fought Golovkin, Mayweather, Lara, Jamal. Who? Where's Jamal's? Jamal should be Andrade, right? You know, people said they've offered him fights. They either priced themselves out. They need to come off that shit. You can't hide behind a promotional company forever because you're going to look around and then the fights you should have got, you didn't get. And then it's going to be, and then the older you get, the less you're going to be able to do. And then there's going to be people that's going to actually be that same on that same banner on PBC that's going to be good enough to beat you, because eventually they're going to feed you to someone that does want smoke with those current fighters, and you're just going to be in the way. So I think Jamal Charlo, you know, should really just start, hey, going to Al Heyman and say, look, give me these fights, make an offer, tell them to send a contract, or we send a counter offer, or we send an offer. That's how it's going to have to be. I would have beaten Lewis. Ike would have beaten Lewis if that fight ever happened just before Ike went crazy. You know, I have I wouldn't argue with that gentleman's game, because I do think Ike Barabucci either would have beat all those guys or came close or had great fights with those guys. And those guys would really have to bring whatever is in them out of them in order to beat Ike Barabucci. Because I mean, if you look at Ike, he's that type of dude. He had every fucking thing. He had defense. He had a good jab. He had good power. He had a good arsenal. You know what I mean? He had it all. David Tua took his first loss from Ike Barabucci. Chris Bird took his first loss from Ike Barabucci. Ask those guys about Ike Barabucci, and they'll be like, ooh, yeah, I remember that motherfucker. He was a monster. He was that unknown monster. People didn't want to fuck with him at all. They didn't. Yeah, I mean, he was one of the famous unknown fighters that I ever had the privilege to see in a fight on television. So, do you think Trinidad won against De La Hoya? No, I don't. But this is what I will say about what what he did. That was a political fight. And what I mean by that, see, De La Hoya should have went for the knockout, because And I don't understand why that fight didn't happen again. It's almost that fight was more just as bizarre to me as the Canelo Lara fight was. They were both bizarre fights at just two different separate outcomes, right? De La Hoya at that point was the cash cow. He was the guy that, Lara wanted that fight. He called that fight out. He agreed to that fight. That fight was made. De La Hoya did not want Canelo to fight him. Okay. Well, a lot of people think Lara beat Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? And the people that thought Lara lost were the people that were primarily like not fans of pure boxers. They thought, oh, he was a runner. No, he was hitting that guy, and Canelo couldn't hit that guy back. He threw punches to the body because he couldn't land a shot upstairs. That's facts. But see what happened with Trinidad and De La Hoya. De La Hoya tried to do that. Let me give him a boxing lesson, which a lot of people were like, okay, well, why did you run 9, 10, 11, and 12? And he did. He did elude an attack or a confrontation, unlike the two other fights that he had that year. He fought Obakar, which was a very good fight. But I think Obakar just couldn't handle the left hook, the punching power of De La Hoya. But Obakar gave him a run for his money. He knocked him out in the 11th round after Richard Steele deducted 2 fucking points from Obakar, which was crazy, right? And back then the rules were different, like headbutt rules. When someone got headbutted, they would take a point from the fighter that is not bleeding. It was crazy, man. It was one of those things, and it was unfortunate. But the other fight with Ike Corte, that was a massive fight, and he went balls to the wall with Ike Corte. Okay, and he was in a situation where he should have fought Trinidad, and he didn't. He boxed, he moved. And I think what he was thinking more of, honestly, he was thinking of how Leonard outpointed Hagler. That's what I think. Because, De La Hoya had a lot of respect for Sugar Ray Leonard. Those guys hung out a lot. They made the first boxing game on not Nintendo, on PlayStation called Knockout Kings. If you guys can remember, I used to love that game. You play it now, you're thinking you're fucking playing Atari or something, but it's crazy. But it was a good game, and both of those guys promoted that game. Had a lot of good fighters on that game. Floyd Mayweather, Pretty Boy. You had Sugar Shane Mosley. I don't think you had Fernando Vargas. You didn't have. Yeah, you did. You had Fernando Vargas. Arturo Gatti was on there. Angel Manfredi was on there. So you had some guys on there. Some big guys and some pretty noticeable, names on that game. But I think he tried to duplicate a performance like Sugar Ray Leonard did with Hagler. I honestly think that. So, little backstory on that. Let's see. A prime Luis Ortiz versus Ika Barabucci. That's a tricky fight because Ortiz is a tricky fighter. He's a southpaw. The only thing worries me about Ortiz is Ortiz doesn't have head movement, and he's going to need it against Ika Barabucci's right. Ask Chris Bird why. Chris Bird was one of the slickest, fastest. He wasn't the biggest. He was pretty small. He was 6'2", but he was slick, fast, witty, and he was real tricky. He was a tricky ass southpaw. Chris Bird was like he fought like a fucking bird. You know what I mean? He was slick. He would throw 4 or 5 punches, and then he would angle himself around you, get outside of your foot. If you were a orthodox fighter, he would hit you with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a right hook. He would spin to his right, your left, and by the time you try to throw something, he's already out of position. He got to win over Klitschko. Okay, so but then his first loss came to Ike Barabucci. So I think with Ortiz, he would get in trouble eventually by getting hit with a shot with Ike Barabucci, and Ike Barabucci will go for the kill. Okay, so it was crazy. BRJH Sports and Entertainment. What's up, brother? Everything's good. Gentleman's game. Kurt, Andy Ruiz fighting Chris Arreola. What is his team thinking? I think they're looking for a tune-up. That's all. You know, like he wanted against Luis Ortiz. It's not. They want. Look, he's with Eddie Reynoso, and I don't know if it's Eddie's idea or Andy Ruiz Sr.'s idea, but it might be Andy Ruiz Jr. He might, because he said that against Luis Ortiz. I need a tune-up. I'm not ready for Ortiz. He's a tough Cuban. Those guys, they eat a lot of platanos and sugar cane. And I'm not even trying to fight that guy right now. But Dillian Whyte's a liar. He didn't offer me anything. Yeah. Okay. But Lennox's hands would have broken before Ike's chin did. Kurt, what do you think? You rank Mayweather in all-time GOATs. I say second to Ali. Floyd Mayweather Jr. Top five. Top five. You know, because there's a lot of people. Because you have to put in account of people that had that type of record at a particular time. You know, like you look at Julio Cesar Chavez. I think I would rate Mayweather over Chavez, but you have to remember if we're looking at a fucking record, Chavez was 89-0. He should have been 89-1 to be fair, because he got in there with Sweet Pea. But then again, where do you rate Sweet Pea? You know what I mean? So that's going to have to be a list that I will do. I will do that for, and I will put it on the community and let you guys check it out. Then we can go over it accordingly. You know, the top 5 all-time greats, top 20 best heavyweights, etc. So yeah, we'll do the damn thing. Yeah, he didn't have the same engine as Ike. But, you know, Lennox Lewis was in pretty good shape, though. I didn't really see him gas out a lot, you know? But, I mean, he didn't have the most output, but, I mean, he did do what it took to win. And he did have very good experience and a wonderful jab, great combinations. Oh, man, it's crazy. Or do you think Trinidad won? No, okay, here we go. No, Lennox would have put a boxing lesson on Ike. Not enough respect for Lennox Lewis. You know, Lennox Lewis, Ruben, he made me respect him. He made me respect him in a way I didn't like him. I didn't like him. It's just something about Lennox. It didn't appeal to me. I mean, when he got knocked out by Rockman, I damn near jumped through my roof, because back in those days, you know, we didn't have social media. You bought that shit on pay-per-view, you know. Um, HBO pay-per-view, Showtime pay-per-view. I got all those damn fights. I saw all those damn fights. The first time I ever saw Ledwapa fight from South Africa was on the undercard of Lennox Lewis Rockman. That night, Ledwapa impressed HBO, and they were going to sign him a 5-fight deal with HBO. And when he came over to the States, he fought an unknown guy with orange fucking hair, one of Freddie Roach's fighters, and his name was Manny Pacquiao. So, you know, it just shows you know, it's crazy. But Lennox Lewis, when he got knocked out, he came back and he knocked him back out. Yeah. Because, you know, I've seen Rockman and I've seen him, you know, he's a decent fighter, but, you know, hey, kudos for him. Kudos to him, rather, because he did a pretty good job. He knocked out Lennox Lewis. And you could tell Lennox Lewis was knocked out because he started saying stupid shit like, "This is what happens when you don't beat the count." Yeah, dickhead, you're treating it as though someone cheated you. You know what I mean? Like you got knocked out. You know, man, Crower. Evening, Kurt. Hope you're safe, man. I hope you're safe too, brother. Hope everyone's safe. Shit. They say Joshua came close to the world land speed record versus Joshua 2. Okay. Search and Destroy. Joe Calzaghe was a decent fighter. Shane Kendrick. Joe Calzaghe, best British fighter ever. Wasn't a dismantling, though, one punch KO. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a dismantling. It wasn't. It was just like, a puncher's chance. That's exactly what happened. Um, Rahman caught him with that right. He thought he was going to go around with a looping right. He went straight up the pipe and knocked Lennox Lewis's ass out. Shit was great. And you could tell Lennox didn't see that shit. He didn't see it coming. He didn't. To be fair, he didn't. He didn't see that at all. So it was one of those things. Charlie Hooper, big hello from New Zealand. Love your work. Appreciate you, Charlie. Lennox's only flaw was arrogance. If Tyson wants to test, I'll put him to rest. I'm like, wah, wah. He fucking lame, That's crazy. But man, Calzaghe versus Lacey was a great fight. He gave Lacey a boxing lesson. He gave him more than that. He fucked Lacey up because he did more than that. He humiliated Lacey. But Calzaghe, he is an underrated fighter. It just goes to show you what if Mickey Ward had a record like Joe Calzaghe? Better yet, Arturo Gatti. What if he never got beat? What is it? What if he was able to beat Angel Manfredi and Golden Johnson and Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya and who else did he get beat by? Carlos Valdemir. And what if he just was this guy that just beat all these guys? What would he be? Who will he be? Then he died. People would be like, shit, Just a lot to think about. A lot to think about, people. Absolutely. I thought Areola was retired. No, I don't think he's retired, but he should be. But is that true? Is he fighting Chris Areola? That'd be a damn shame if he is. I'm gonna be pissed. Yeah, he said he could face Chris Areola. I hope he doesn't. What a jerk. What a jerk. You know what I mean? But again, I think they need that time to I think they need that time to I'm not sure. I mean, I think Daniel Dubois is hungry. I would like to see that fight though, because that probably will be one of those defining fights, and a lot of strange things will happen in that fight that people won't anticipate. What do I think about Billy Joe Saunders? I think he's a good fighter. I just think he gets in his own way. Like he can't shut the fuck up and stop being a gangster and be a boxer. You know what I mean? You could do both without stepping on people's toes to, shit on your fights. You know? No, I didn't hear that gentleman's game. It's crazy. How far you see Hellenius going after he wins with Kaunaki? Ruben, I think Hellenius gets knocked out in his next fight. It's just the way it goes. I mean, it just depends on who they match him up with. You know, hopefully he gets the confidence and win him a slew of fights, because I was so happy for him when he knocked out Adam Kaunaki, because Adam Kaunaki fought like a fucking dickhead. He thought he was invincible. He thought, like these punches couldn't hurt him. Like people don't have punching power. Like he's the only one that like has punching power. So, but he could get knocked out. And if he look, let's put it this way: Robert Helenius The Nordic Nightmare. Don't be surprised if he gets knocked out in his next fight. That's all I'm going to say. But I do wish him well. I do wish, him good fortune and all that jazz, you know. Do you think about my queen Clarissa Shields versus Layla Ali? Wilkins, just the time difference. That would be a great fight. It's just, I think, Layla, mi amor. I think Clarissa Shields is just in the wrong time. You know what I mean? Because she's beating people, and there's not a lot of people to beat. They're talking about her fighting Nunes. Like, dude, she's a UFC fighter, and that just shows you that there's not a lot of potential there. Because after Christian Hammer, after that fight, it was no one really to market her about or against. You know what I mean? And she was fighting dudes and getting the scraps and shit. But Layla Ali, I don't know if she will do that. If I were her, I wouldn't, because you're 42, fine as hell, great shape, but not in boxing shape. And it's a lot of years that she's actually stayed out of the ring. So it's like, how good now can you perform against some young fucking wildcat like Clarissa Shields that wants to prove a point, that wants that notoriety that she once got, that ain't Ali's daughter. You know what I mean? If you look up Layla Ali, it doesn't say boxer. It says fucking celebrity, right? Personality. Okay. So, that just shows you that she was already famous, but she was an undefeated fighter and she got out of the game. So, fair play. I used to watch those Layla Ali fights on ESPN too, Friday night fights. And she been in some wars, you know what I mean? You've heard her in that, I've heard her in that corner, help me, God damn it. Cause she fought some big Swedish chick, and then, she was a tall chick. And one thing Layla had over her opponent, she was tall. She was towering over these chicks, and she knew how to use that jab, you know what I mean? And she was a tough customer. But Clarissa Shields, Flint-born, mean ass, Detroit-born, bred, ready to fight off the drop of a dime. It'd be interesting. But then, you cut what, 17 years or some shit? Clarissa's a young girl, man. Layla Ali's a young lady, or you know what I mean? But shit, Clarissa is a young girl. There's a difference, man. Women's boxing is like handbags at 10 paces. None of them can actually box. Oh, like a Barabucci versus a prime Razor Ruddock. Who do you got, Kurt? I don't know. Razor's pretty tough. I'd love to see that fight. Shane Kendrick, you know what, Kurt? Everyone is calling everyone out at the moment, and it's all gone too far because of the virus thing. To me, Dillian Whyte is the only one who wants it. Your thoughts? I'm not sure if he's the only one that wants it. I just know that I think you're right. I think a lot of people are calling people out because they can, and it's the thing to do, just to stay relevant, just to stay in social media, to stay in someone's eyesight. Because out of sight is out of mind. You stop hearing about a fighter, you be like, oh yeah, what happened to that fighter? You know what I mean? So you have to be relevant, make yourself relevant, make yourself visible. That's what social media is about. Keep posting, keep doing this, keep doing that. Doesn't matter what you did, is what you continue to do. Cujo, Kurt, do you think Mike is seriously going to make a professional comeback 12 rounds at 53 years old? No. I think what he's going to do, he's going to do some exhibitions. And he's going to make a whole lot of fucking money. And based off how good that does, hopefully somebody will give him something to think about. To be like, no, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to do this shit, man. I just want to smoke my weed and shit, stay in shape. But I'm going to stay in the gym 3 or 4 times out of the week because I think it's possible. But I think that's what's going to happen first. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. But anyway, guys, I thank you guys for coming on to the chat. I'm at the end. I got to hit the gym, got to get it in. Everybody, I thank you all for coming on to the chat. We will revene on the next chat as time permits. Of course, please subscribe. And all you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.